That something wasn't right. When I'm not with you, I lose my mind.
So we good?
We are.
Yeah.
Terrell, whenever you're ready.
All right, here we go. Cheers, everybody. Welcome to Sips and Scripts, the podcast that brings together the best of both worlds, cocktails and movies.
Woohoo!
We'll
Yeah.
dive into all-time favorite films and explore the latest releases and pair it with a delicious cocktail while we share our thoughts, opinions, and some fascinating behind-the-scenes trivia. My name is Terrell Bernard, film enthusiast.
And I am Kirsten Jackson. I am a blogger and cocktail influencer at lowcountrysocialite.com.
And hey, y'all, I'm Kayla Rose, and I'm an entertainment blogger at inmytheater.com. And I'm so excited to welcome you to the show because guess what? It's spooky season. Yeah, we might not be in October. We might not have even made it to September. But today, on August 20th, it is spooky season. And I am kicking it off with our first spooky movie. Dun, 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 dun.
What movie is that?
That would be the wonderful, the illustrious, the great Disney classic, The Haunted Mansion.
Wait.
Yay!
I'm confused. What now? What'd you say? This is the what now? Disney
is
classic?
the Disney classic, Haunted Mansion. Yeah.
Okay, for those of you who are tuning in with us, our delusional Kayla, it's her week. This is her week, and this is her choice, you know. So we are doing the original Haunted Mansion. So we are right on the heels of the remake. Is it still in theaters? I think it's still in theaters.
Yeah,
right?
it's still in theaters.
Yeah.
A 20-year remake of the movie because it came out in 2003. And so this one came out in 2023.
Yes. Now, since our, what is it, Inception? Kayla has been threatening us by putting this movie on our calendar, and the day of reckoning is finally here.
Threatening is such an interesting choice of words.
Yeah.
Because is it a threat? It's just such a wonderfully created movie with such a great synopsis behind it, which is, we have a lovely Black family. First of all, let's talk about that. In 2003, Disney put a Black family in a film, fully Black family in a film. Okay.
And it's iconic. You're right.
Iconic. And off the rip, that should bring you to a 5. Okay. Just like off of strength alone, it's already a 5 out of 10 movie.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Okay. Now, wait a minute now. Now that's too far.
Yeah, man.
I'm a said what I said, and it's a 5.
Taylor.
That was a stretch.
Taylor, now.
Wow.
That was a stretch. Okay.
Wow.
I will say yes, it is iconic that Disney did a film about a whole Black family because this is 2003. Well, before we only had That's So Raven that was only Black like that. So okay,
and the Proud family, but whatever.
Yes, and the Proud family. Let's not forget about the Proud family. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, iconic.
Yes, and even though that was like 3 things, like Disney had dozens of shows, like dozens. So okay, we'll give it that. But you're saying off of the strength of that alone, that gives it, that bumps up to a 5?
5.
That means it was a negative 2, so I put it at a 3. That'll work.
Yes. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and say that will put it at a 5. Unfortunately, it also stays at a 5.
Whatever. Anywho,
but we will get into that.
I know.
We are going to give Kayla the opportunity to fight for her movie because that's what we do. We all, for those of you who are joining us for the first time, we are responsible. Each one of us is responsible for a movie each week that we broadcast. It is Kayla's week, so it's like a dissertation. She has to defend her movie. So
it doesn't really need that much defending. So, that's great. So a little bit about the movie before we go into our history and 60-second challenge. So the movie is about a family who has two hardworking, adults, two children. They're realtor. They get summoned to a mansion because this guy called and was like, "Hey, yo, I want."
Oh, you're giving the plot, and you still got to challenge somebody for.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought I was introducing the movie. I am so sorry. Never mind. History with the film.
Don't make it easy for whoever you challenge.
I'm so sorry. You're right. Okay, history. I've watched this movie every year since its inception in 2003. So this is one of my favorite Halloween movies because I am a big scaredy cat. And it's gotten a little bit better over the past couple of years, but I was a big scaredy cat. So Halloween Town, The Haunted Mansion, Twitches were like my go-to Halloween movies since they came out to right now. So I love this movie and I've seen it a bajillion times. Terrell?
I have absolutely zero history with this film. This wasn't even on my radar at all. I was a grown up, and I didn't have any children. So 2003, I was living life, not thinking about this movie.
That's funny.
Kirsten?
I was waiting on someone to call my name. Okay, so okay, I thought I had seen this movie, but I was wrong. So yeah, and but it's a movie that I always knew existed. And I always knew that Eddie Murphy was in it, and I feel like maybe I meant to watch it and didn't. But so I had never seen it before, but I did when you first put on the calendar. I watched it right then because I was like, well, I may want to go and see the new movie in theaters. So let me go ahead and just watch this one. Because normally when we put movies on the calendar, I usually watch it either like that Friday before the Sunday recording or like anytime that weekend leading up to our broadcast time. So, but I watched that one like 3 or so weeks earlier whenever you put it on. And so that was my first time seeing it. But I do remember a lot of the elements from it. I remember like the swirling purple and swirling green. And I remember the bus singing, the guys singing. I remember that. But as far as like the storyline, I was like, okay, I guess I had not seen this like I thought I had. So, so yeah, that's really my history with the film. But I know it's in the list of movies that people watch
safely.
Okay, for that that they watch like because it's Nightmare Before Christmas, Spooky Halloween Town, Hocus Pocus, and this movie. I know like people watch that yearly who are like adults into spooky season. So okay.
Yeah, that's absolutely. Now, mind you, and this might be a point I should raise later, I was 8 when this movie came out. So when you watch something when you're super young and you just watched it up until then, like you are inundated into the movie. The movie is a part of you now. So it's really hard to be like, no, this movie is trash because you've just seen it so much. Anywho, let's get into our 60-second recap. I'm gonna give it to Kirsten.
No.
Oh, now Terrell, don't laugh too hard because I'll revoke and give it to you. Don't laugh too hard.
Okay. Well, did you add our clock in there?
Oh, I forgot. You hold on. I forgot about our clock.
Oh, we got a clock.
We do have a clock right now. Oh, that's not it. Oh, I forgot about it. I don't even remember what you sent the clock.
Well, that's all right. Just somebody set their timer.
I got you. We gonna have the clock next time, y'all. I got you. All right. Uno, dos, tres.
Okay, so Eddie Murphy stars as this overworked real estate agent. His wife is also a real estate agent, which is really weird. But so, and he like never really takes time to spend with his family because he's always working. So they get this call about this house that is for sale, or they want to talk about it being for sale. But then they get there and it rains and they're stuck at the house, which is really weird because you can't drive in the rain. But so they stay there, and then the guy is in love with Eddie Murphy's wife because he thinks that it's his girlfriend reincarnated who killed herself. But then they realize that it's not, and then they release the actual girl's spirit, and then like the kids are like, yay, it's a haunted house, but we want to help these ghosts and stuff, and then the ghosts get released, and then at the end.
Wow.
So how
that recap made the movie even worse.
Didn't do it the best of justice. Not gonna hold you, but okay.
I think I did a fine job.
Oh no, you did a fine job. You pointed out all the key points. It just made you like,
sure. Yeah, you did that. Yeah, you did something.
And I thank you. Yes. So there we are with the 60-second recap. I think I got all of the important moments. Okay.
That you did.
You did something, which is fine. And now we're gonna have a cocktail. Because I just think that's the right thing to do.
Yes, it's now time for a cocktail. So we are going to be
so this is the Madam Leota Swizzle. It's going to start with 1.5 ounces of green.
Hi. Oh my gosh, y'all. We are still trying to figure out how to use this. And I can't remember how I did it last time that allowed us to also do it. Let me see.
There we go. Taking up the whole thing is fine.
Huh?
Taking up the whole thing is fine. However you did that before.
Yeah, but it won't let you talk.
I don't have to talk. I don't have to talk.
Oh, okay. Got it.
So pull her out of that, and yeah.
Okay.
But hold on. So
I have failed us. I'm so sorry.
But yeah, so we are going to be I'm not making the cocktail today, which is all the technical difficulty stuff you see going on. I'm not making the cocktail today. We are going to be joined by guest bartender at the Peregrine Rooftop Hotel, the Peregrine Rooftop at the Perry Lane Hotel, and they are going to make Madam Leota Swizzle. So we are going to push it to that video, and the bartender is going to explain and show you the drink, and yeah. So when you ready?
So this is the Madam Leota Swizzle. It's going to start with 1.5 ounces of Green Chartreuse. It's going to be 1 ounce of pineapple. It's going to be 0.75 ounces of lime. 1.5 ounces of velvet falernum, and then 2 dashes of orange bitters. Shaken.
Here.
It's strong.
Before you do that, will you just
Wonderful.
right. So yeah, that was our Madam Leota Swizzle,
Lovely.
made by Peregrine Rooftop Bar. So visit them. They have some really great drinks if you're in Savannah, and the rooftop there is beautiful and it catches the best breeze over Savannah. So there we go. So thank you, Peregrine, for making our cocktail for us today. Um, yeah, so Kayla, are you ready to lead us into the technical summary of this wonderful film?
Yes. So, like we said, The Haunted Mansion came out in 2003. It stars Eddie Murphy. And I mean, I feel like Eddie Murphy is probably like the biggest person. I don't know if y'all know the rest of these folks, but Eddie Murphy, Marsha Thomas, I believe her name is, Jennifer Tilly, Terrence Stamp, Nathan Parker, and some other folks who were in the movie. It came out in 2003. The box office for this, no, the budget for this was like 90 million, I believe. It made 182.3 million. So that was pretty wonderful. It was directed by the same guy who made like The Lion King and all of those movies that we so love. And yeah, that's like really like the technical details that I got for y'all.
Did we go over the budget? What was the budget for this movie?
It was 90 million, and then they made 182 million in the box office.
Okay, I mean that's
so doubled it.
Because it's Disney. Okay.
Is that why?
Yes.
Well, I would have to say that I believe that this movie was literally just good, and I think y'all are just haters. I don't know what else to tell you. I think y'all are just haters. So yeah, let's get into it. The funny thing is, the questions that I have about the movie aren't necessarily about the movie, but about the whole. But whatever. I really like the movie. I think that you know, having this, I feel like they were almost like a traditional Black household where you have the mom, you have the dad, you have the of that they like to portray in movies. Let's keep it there because you know traditional means a whole lot of different things, but they tried to make it to be like a you know, mom, dad, brother, sister, no pets. I don't know why there were no pets, but there were no pets. And you have these two kids who are like vastly different from one another. There's one who's a little bit, you know, more timid, who happens to be the boy, and the girl who is like, let's keep it pushing. The husband who's like working extra hard, and the wife who is like, okay, we see you working hard, but you also need to spend some time with us. So that's kind of like the dynamic of the family. And there's like a couple of interesting moments for me in the movie that I like to talk about. Is like one, the whole thing about the little boy and the spider. And just like how that was navigated. Some other things that I want to talk about were has Disney gone soft a little bit? And then do y'all believe in ghosts? So those are my three. So let's take the little boy first. He was scared of spiders. And if you, like me, I also am scared of spiders. I'm scared of everything that's smaller than me that crawls. Honestly, truly, spiders, roaches, ants. I don't want to in my vicinity. Honestly, crickets, please. And the way to me, that whole conversation of you're not a man if you don't know how to kill a spider is crazy. It's insane. People have fears. There are things that people, you know, don't like to do. And do you guys feel like the way he handled it was right? Or is there comes a time where you just like literally have to fight this fear or whatever and get over it so that you can move on? Or and then like in general, how do you guys like face your fears?
Who are you calling on?
Both of y'all. But you can go first.
Who are you choosing?
You can go first. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I don't like, you know, the whole thing of you're not a man if you can't do this. I do think that I do agree with him, teaching your child to not be fearful, but the whole "you're not a man if you don't do this," I did not like. But I know that this movie is 20 something years old, so I will say, yeah, creepy crawlies are not my thing. Like Terrell, you know that. Terrell knows very well. Creepy crawlies are not my thing. I'm horrified, terrified of spiders. And shit, he did good. Because that whole door at the end or whatever was covered in spiders, and ain't no way. I ain't no way. I'd had to get a new family because they
new family.
No, because that thing was covered in spiders, and those
it was covered. And I ain't gonna hold you. I'd have been like,
I would have no, hell no. So, but yeah, but I think it's good to teach kids not to be so afraid of things, because truthfully, we are like 100 times bigger than spiders, and we shouldn't be scared of them. But the thing is, they're just creepy crawlies are just not my thing, and so. So I guess I kind of sort of agree, but also don't with some elements of it. I think that not being afraid is something that we could teach all people. It's not, oh, you have to kill the spiders because you're a man. And because shoot, I have to kill spiders. I hate it, but I live alone, so I gotta do
really?
it.
You have to kill spiders, huh?
I do.
Oh, okay.
When I can catch them, when I'm not shaking and quaking in my boots. But yeah. You visit one time and killed 2 little spiders while you was here, and now you just the king arachnid.
Exactly. I don't know. I guess I'm old school, and there are some things you do need to be taught as a young boy going into a man. You can also teach your daughter as well if you want to, because they're going to be out on their own as well. I think the fear part is like, yeah, everybody's afraid of something, and you do have to learn to face your fears, because if you go through life thinking like, oh, well, if I just don't deal with it, nothing will happen. Like, it's going to come up to you sooner or later. It is something that you don't deal with as a youth, and it grows into adulthood, and it torments you there. Or if it's something that you like, a spider or anything, it could be anything you don't deal with as a child could come back to bite you as an adult. So you got to learn how to face your fears, get over it, get it done, because at the end of the day, nobody cares.
Damn. Okay.
Hard reality of life.
Hey, nobody cares.
But if you think about it,
like not nobody cares, but nobody cares that, oh, you're scared of spiders? Like, so?
it sounds harsh when you think about it. And of course, you're not saying like everybody does not care about your fears and things like that.
Yeah, of course.
But it's true. It was something that I was thinking about the other day of like, I think I was kind of talking a little bit to Kirsten about it, but of like, one of the reasons I stopped a little bit of my like influencer-ish journey was because of the rise of video. I am not a video girl. I know I come up here on this podcast, but it's not my forte. And I was thinking the other day, I'm like, a lot of people probably are not video girls or like people who like to put themselves out there and things like that, but they do it anyways. And they are leaps and bounds ahead because they were able to work up that fear. So while you over here like, no, I don't want to do this and da 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 da, people are going about their business. They're getting their money, they're getting their sponsorships, brand deals, all of things. But because you have a fear of being in front of the camera, you are still stuck in the same place. And it's true. Sure, you can either do that or you can go on about your business and face and conquer your fears and still have a little fear sitting left in there, so.
Yeah, I agree. And I do remember that conversation, you and I were having. It's it's different, like being on this podcast because we're engaging each other. I too am not a face to camera and just talk kind of person. But I'm learning to kind of let go of that and to do it more often. Because why not? And I should, but it's difficult, and I think it comes easier and more natural for some people than others. But it just is what it is. But yeah, you have to conquer these fears, and everybody's got something they're afraid of. And as far as like, you know, Terrell, you saying you're old school, I do agree that yeah, there are things that you have to teach young men, but what I'm saying that I don't agree with is saying you're not a man if you
I don't agree with that. I mean, you're still a man. Like, you might not be like
right
a man, but you're
just
still
a different
a
kind of man, and it's okay. Yeah, but like that, because you're not a man if you can't, and it's like, okay, I think that whole teaching is just off. But yeah, so.
And when y'all put it in that perspective, like being on camera and stuff like that, like you already know, like that's definitely not my thing. Like you won't rarely catch me like, oh, I'm popping up doing this, or I'm on camera doing that. Like, no, I stay away from the camera until Sunday.
I will say that, Terrell, one thing about it that, you know, you might not even realize is that when I am near you and I'm like, pull out my phone, you always pose for a picture. Like, because I have people that are like, but you know, so you might do it a little better than you think you do. Because I've got people that they used to pull out their camera, they don't take no picture of me. And I used to be like that. Right. When I was younger, I didn't take pictures. But I had to kind of force myself to get out there. Now I take pictures all the time and it ain't nothing to me. But and I wish that I had taken pictures more, because that's how you like chronicle your life. And you know, you have like lots of pictures and things that you can look back on. And I don't really have a lot of pictures like that to look back on. So I was like, you know what? I've got to do it because I ain't gonna have shit to look at.
Yeah. And I think you are doing a mighty fine job, my darling.
What did you say?
I said I think you're doing a mighty fine job, my darling.
Oh, thank you ever so.
I'm trying to talk like Ramsey.
Oh dear Lord. Yes, back to the friggin' movie. All right. I will say this movie, one of the things that was just that I did not like, other than like the whole entirety of the movie. Just kidding. But I did not like the dynamic between the husband and the wife. And I feel like the reason for that is because it was a 20-year-old movie. And also it was very evident that this movie was a vehicle for Eddie Murphy. Like they chose basically unknowns, except for you know, a couple of names, and always get Meg Tilly and Jennifer Tilly mixed up. So it was Jennifer Tilly.
I believe so.
Yeah. Like nobody else really had anything. Like this was basically a vehicle for Eddie Murphy, which is fine because it was a big star. Obviously.
I'm gonna say no, because he did Dr. Dolittle before that. And that was a Disney movie, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think this movie, I feel like this movie, and I could be wrong because I don't really know the history of this movie, but I felt like this movie, instead of the movie being created and then them putting Eddie Murphy in it, I feel like it was created for Eddie Murphy.
Okay.
Like, you know, like they had, we got this big star signed on. Let's just make a scary movie and around.
Okay. I could see that because I also couldn't see anyone else in playing this role.
Yeah, but I feel like the movie suffers because of that. Because you got this wife who is
gorgeous.
She's a real estate agent too. You don't see her working none.
Right.
Like it's all him. He's the rock star of the family, the rock star of the real estate business, because it was kind of like they were in business together.
Yeah, something of that nature.
And to be fair, she might be somebody that just like, you know what, at 5 o'clock I'm done. Then it's me and the kids. And you know, but we don't know that. We don't know nothing about her. We know she's a real estate agent, but we don't never see her work at all. She just got a little.
Now, to be fair, we barely see him work either. He just starts the movie off working.
But he was all about
making a
all
deal.
he did do was work.
He was selling
that
a house.
was like 10 minutes of the movie.
He went to get the paper signed. Then all of a sudden he ran to another couple trying to sell a house. And then when he goes to the mansion, he tries to take over that deal.
And that's another thing. It was her that got the call, and he just completely took it over. And I was like,
yeah, it was a little bit of misogyny, just a little tap, because he was like, "Hey, my man's, you need to talk to me." But I didn't know if that was more for him just being like, "What do you need to talk to my wife for?" Or because we're all here, so let me take care of this for us. Versus, you know, just not letting her rock. Because to me, I'm like, yeah, sure, I got the call, but we all here. You got this. I don't need to. What I need to do.
I feel like he just completely took agency away from her, and it just wasn't enjoyable for me.
Was she trying to take agency? But was she trying to take agency?
But I'm saying they did not have her as a character, a strong character. She was just like his shadow. It was just weird. I didn't really like that dynamic between them two. Okay. But you guys, what was your first Eddie Murphy movie? Kayla, what was your first Eddie Murphy movie?
I think my first Dr. Dolittle.
Okay.
But I was 3, so like I wasn't watching anything else from Eddie Murphy.
Mm-hmm. Anybody joining us now that is live with us, let us know what your first Eddie Murphy movie was.
Shoot, and Dr. Dolittle was my only Eddie Murphy movie for a long time. I mean, I was young. There was no reason for me to watch Coming to America or anything of that nature.
I feel like, you know,
I still haven't seen Coming to America. And I don't want to.
Oh, we will. But
you'll see it.
I will conveniently not be available.
Oh, that's an option now?
I wish we would have known that. You just showed up by yourself talking about this. We love you.
Yeah, but yeah, that was my first one. What about y'all?
Terrell, what's your first Eddie Murphy movie?
I'm looking at the filmography. I think the first one I remember watching was Beverly Hills Cop, either the first one or the second one.
Okay.
That I remember watching.
I remember watching the Beverly Hills Cops movies. Trading Places. I feel like that might have been my first one.
Really?
I feel like, because I remember when I watched Coming to America, I got that reference that was in it, that strong reference with the guys.
Oh, Mortimer, we're back in business. Like, yeah.
Yeah, that one. Yeah. So again, like if you're joining us, if you're watching us live, let us know what was your first Eddie Murphy movie. So yeah, I thought about that because I was like, dang, Eddie Murphy, you know, was a really big part of my childhood. I had not really thought about it before, but yeah.
I'm looking at his filmography, and I've seen from 80 when he got his first film in 82. Minus this movie, I've seen almost every single one of his movies, minus this movie, and My Name is Dolomite.
I haven't seen the Dolomite movie either.
And I heard it's really good. They say it's really good.
I actually think I've seen the Dolomite movie. If I'm thinking of the one I'm thinking about,
Okay.
which hated it either way. So
Moving on, because Kayla just be Kayla. All right. Well, what was your next question for us? What else can we discuss?
Yeah. So a big thing to me was I feel like Disney has gotten soft. So this movie, if you look at any of like the filmography from like this decade of movies or such, like they had so much more real concepts and things of that movie. Y'all, they literally opened a portal to hell in this movie. Okay. Like they was cussing, and there was a couple of cuss words in this movie. And you will not see that in any type of like real Disney productions nowadays. And it is, to me, they have gone a very soft route with the type of like things that people put out now. Like back in the day, and it's like one of my biggest gripes with Disney, because you could tell exactly when it changed. I feel like we got the TV shows that taught you things, that like really gave you a real life perspective on certain things. Like even when you watch That's a Raven, of course, like a lot of us are like, well, how, is that, she's a psychic. A lot of people don't believe in psychics and things of that nature. So how are you saying that that's real? But they went through real challenges and talked about like real things that were going on. But when you see TV now, it's like everyone is a singer in school. I am a secret spy. Da 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 da. And I'm like, I think we've gotten away from like really good television. And yeah, how do y'all feel about that? Do you guys feel like there's been a big major shift in the way like TV shows are made and like what they discuss and things of that nature?
Well, I think
Who you
that
calling on?
I guess Terrell, because he's talking. So
I think they had to make that shift just because everything is so, we want this, we want that. If you don't do it, we say we boycotting this, we'll take our dollars elsewhere. That's not right, this not right, we don't like this. It's too many complaints. So if you just keep it down the middle of the road, then you don't really have to go through too much drama when it comes to putting out your content. Because if you just keep it on the straight and narrow, you don't go too far to the right, don't go too far to the left, then people usually will still rock with you.
Yeah, I can see that.
So I think that's a business decision, because at the end of the day, even though they put out all this entertainment, they don't care about the entertainment. They care about the dollars. Mm-hmm. So as long as the mouse is getting fed, it's all good.
I could see that. I could see that being a thing. What about you, Kiers?
I think that as far as answering the question, has Disney gone soft? Yes, and I guess in some ways, yeah, but then also because when I think about deep classic Disney, yeah, they was gonna have to tighten some of that stuff up, because a lot of that stuff was very racist. Like when we think of like South and Dumbo, a lot of like depictions in those early Disney classics were pretty racist. But then I also think that Disney has also like included some things like, and not just Disney, but like a lot of like I guess young adult or children's programming. They are tackling issues that they weren't allowed to tackle before. Like I think about the new Babysitters Club. I mean, it only got 2 seasons and then it got canceled, but in those 2 seasons they made a lot of impact. Like they talked about divorce and trans kids and sexuality and puberty, a lot of stuff that we were going through, but our TV did not reflect that growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's so yeah, I guess it has gone soft in some ways, but also gone woke, which I know people hate that word. It's a buzzword, but I love the word woke. So
Yes, I love it for its
You-
intended purpose, not
Yeah.
for what they co-opted to be.
right, because white white people that are a little more right leaning have taken that word and almost use it like a racial slur. Oh,
It is a racial slur.
the woke politics, the woke, but really, the origin of the word was, for Black people to keep their eyes open. So
Stay woke. Stay woke.
stay woke. Stay woke.
Ain't that one of y'all songs?
I don't know what you're saying.
I don't need to. But
So,
yeah, I agree. I think that, and maybe it is a little bit of like me holding on to my childhood, because I remember when Disney made the switch. The last show that I feel like still kind of held on like in the way was they made the Wizards of Waverly Place, and when that went off, it was like Disney Channel was like completely different Disney Channel, with the exception of Girl Meets World. I will say that Girl Meets World was really, really done very well, and a lot of people were like, why would you remake this show for these? That movie was done. I mean, TV show was done so well, and kind of in the same style of Boy Meets World. So you did get a lot of those issues that you were like, okay, wow, yeah, y'all are really tackling some unique things. But after that, everything on Disney felt childish. And that might be because I am no longer a kid. It could be that. But I also feel like they took, like you said, that softer route of like, we have to walk this middle line because we can't offend. But what's also interesting is like, I feel like entertainment is the place where you're supposed to be able to have those differences and supposed to be able to touch on those differences, because that is where a lot of people learn about life, honestly, truly. I think it's an Audrey Hepburn quote that's like, everything I've learned from the movies. And it's true. You learn so much about life from what you take in on entertainment. And so that's like one of the reasons why I said this, because I'm like, are we teaching the children anything anymore through entertainment? So,
I mean, art should imitate life, and and I think that creates better art when it does imitate life. And when you try to wipe things out of existence just to create art, it's not authentic. So I think your TV programming and movies should reflect the life around you. And so that's why, like, so I know, and sometimes it's overdone, because I feel like, take the Sex and the City reboot. Like, one of the main critiques of Sex and the City was that there was no diversity, there was no real actors or like people of color, and they lived in New York City. Duh, there's Black people all around, but in that show, it did not reflect that.
mm-hmm.
So now we have this reboot of Sex and the City, and Just Like That, and it's so much diversity to where it's like, gee whiz.
Yeah.
And it's almost like every character gets a best friend or buddy that is a diverse character, and it's almost like they're giving out keychains. Like, you get a keychain, you get a keychain, and that's a little weird and overdone. But I mean, I don't know. I guess it has to be done, and I know, like, we've had discussions on this podcast about, forced diversity. Is it good? Is it bad? But I do feel like it is good, even though it isn't as authentic as we'd like.
Mm-hmm.
But when you think about like the history of like this country and like with race, everything had to be forced. It wasn't that people did things out of the kindness of their hearts, like in segregation and in Jim Crow laws.
Yeah.
All of that had to be forced. So obviously putting more Black characters or characters of color, disabled characters, and you know, just different characters like that, it has to be forced. You know, slavery ending had to be forced. Ending segregation, it had to be forced. It's just one of those things, unfortunately. So, and this is just another rung in that ladder. So
it's so crazy because this all kind of ties back to the movie, which this whole reason why they're like trapped in this house fighting for their lives is because the master of the house fell in love with the Black woman. He fell in love with the Black woman, and what we come to find out at the end, the butler was like, it's because your union was improper. And I tried to tell you about marrying that girl. And I was like, oh, yeah, well, let's get into it, because which was so funny, because did they ever say what era they were in? Because to me,
I did not like that storyline.
Yeah, I was just trying to figure out what century they were in, because it wasn't given like, I don't know, during slavery times of, you know, that we know about. It seemed like it was given like way, way, way back in the day, but you never really know really what time, because they were like old English folks.
That did not make any sense. Because it was like old Victorian time.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
But they were in America, and it was like, was this mansion like teleported there? Like, that didn't make any sense.
I agree with you. That was one of the more interesting takes, because I was just like, okay, because this gave around, and I can't remember what her name is. It gave the same time realm to me from Halloween Town, when they went back in time about her grandmother's age of time, like when they had castles and knights and all of those things. And that's the time period that the movie gave when you got into the house. So it was just like, were they really
strange? It was very strange. And how I rationalized it during the viewing was like, I was thinking, well, maybe they had these elaborate parties in England, and then they just moved to America, you know, their whole migration to colonize America, and they just continue that stuff there. So that's why we got that English vibe. I don't know. The shit wasn't explaining it was funny. And yeah. Terrell, you got any thoughts? You like history, and you're the history buff here. I'm not. I don't know.
Yeah, the era seemed off. It was so like the whole full-blown cemetery in the backyard. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Why? Okay. It wasn't like, oh man, it's a few bodies back there. Like, no, that was like Arlington Cemetery full cemetery. I was like, goodness gracious.
Like that was a thing of like way back in the day. Like,
I was like, did everybody at this party die?
Right.
That was strange, because this obviously isn't a English family that transplanted here. It's obviously an old family, because they have, I guess, all of their family buried behind the house, which that's not weird, but it was just
but it's their entire whole family is buried behind the house. That's what makes me think like this had to be like, we're talking 18s almost, or early 19s.
I think it would have had to been even earlier than that to have that many bodies back there. Like this had to been Like,
But
That was definitely a big caveat of the movie of where it's like, because I feel like they did try to mix like way back in the day with today's problems or yesterday's problems, with whatever you want to say, when it came to the whole like you were about to marry a Black woman. And I'm like, I feel like
and you know what?
that don't match.
That's the thing that I did not like about it.
I didn't even know that was the problem. I didn't even know what was.
Exactly.
This movie made no sense.
Exactly. And I was getting upset while watching the movie because I was like, wow, Disney, why don't you say it with your whole chest? Like, that the problem was that you didn't want this guy to marry this Black one, but it like they just kept saying like she's not good enough or she like, and it was like, what are you saying? Like,
Yeah.
you could have just said it, and that would have actually made it a slightly better movie. But no, and you lead these kids to guess why she was not good enough, and then it was just like, so we're not tackling racism in this movie, but we are like,
No,
huh?
man, this movie, this.
I was
They
very
really
I
wanted
was-
Eddie Murphy to do something. He wanted to do kid stuff because this is when he's in his kid movie era, and so I guess Disney might have approached him and was like, "We'll give you this movie," and he was like, "Okay," because a lot of it was like a lot of Eddie Murphy improv, but it wasn't very funny. I was very underwhelmed. I was
really, I thought the movie was really funny at times.
Can you
Not the
tell
whole
us what was
Um,
something that you laughed at?
some of the things that I laughed at. One was like when he was in there with the magic lamp and he's getting spun around. Like that whole little monologue there was kind of funny of him being like, "All right, I would like to put on the ground now." The singing bus was hilarious to me.
Okay, they were cute. I'll give you that. They were cute.
Yeah, I think a lot of his ad libs that he did in the movie were really fun.
I thought those kids were corny as hell. And
not the kids.
yeah, right.
I think that they were meant to be corny though. Like one of them, especially the little boy, I feel like the little boy was meant to be shown as like this.
I actually enjoyed. He was all right. The little girl was corny as hell.
No.
And Eddie Murphy. And Eddie Murphy can be corny. Like he does corny well, but this was not one of those times. Kayla and I'm sorry. I feel like I'm just bragging on you, but this movie was just really bad. I understand why you like it. I get it because it is fun and whimsical, and it is like high energy Halloween as opposed to dark, scary Halloween. But the plot was just bad. It was just bad. Like the whole we're gonna tackle racism, but not really say it. And then like just the whole Eddie, it was really like I said earlier, you could tell this was built for Eddie Murphy to just come in and shine and carry this movie. Like he carried this whole freaking movie on his back, and he didn't.
It still wasn't good.
He was like that performance. He was just phoning it in. Like this wasn't even full body Eddie Murphy that we know, because Eddie Murphy give his all to a film. Like, and it was like he half showed up in this movie.
He was like, "Did y'all cut the check?" He was like, "Disney, did you?"
Yeah, it was a real cut the check.
I disagree, but that's okay. We can live to disagree because I feel like he gave the performance that was due to this movie.
And you're not wrong.
And it was a good one.
It didn't require much. Like,
does every movie require a Oscar-worthy performance?
No.
But
it requires to be cohesive and make sense. This movie,
there is a lot of
ghosts
movies
or were
that
they
we have
people?
watched that have not been cohesive and made sense.
The ghost. The whole thing was ghost. If you a ghost, ghosts can't grab people. Ghosts can't bake cookies.
Who ghosts can't do
and
that?
Then you can't go between being a ghost and then being solid at the same time.
Why they can't?
Hey, but you know what? Okay. I've seen movies
with ghosts. No, I'm just kidding.
You in your movie, you can decide what kind of ghosts you're gonna have. They could be solid creatures or whatever. That to me, that's not. But like, you had ghosts that you didn't even use. Like there were those ghosts that were like in the bottom of the house baking cookies and stuff. Like they were just there. Like they weren't even utilized. Like you could tell that it was like this movie was so focused on
the
being created around Eddie Murphy that they didn't even give solid lines to anybody else. Everybody else was just like kind of there. But then, so when you do that, you would expect Eddie Murphy to bring in a solid performance, and he didn't. It was just like he there, say a few funny things, which weren't really that funny, and then the credits roll. And then it was like, yeah, okay. And then, so it made the whole entire movie lackluster. Like it just, it just was. But Kayla, what I want you to get from this is that it's okay to like shitty things.
Mm-hmm. Oh! I know because y'all like a whole lot of shitty things.
And I'll agree with it.
Every movie y'all bring up here is shitty.
I ain't gonna say that. But it's movies that I absolutely love that I know are shitty. Yeah. Like, I'll go ahead and put the shame face on and admit that I love Mariah Carey's movie, that Glitter. I love that movie, but that movie is trash.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But I love it. And it's okay to love shitty things. And if this movie was a part of your childhood and you love it, that's great. But the plot
wasn't a wonderful one. Thank you. Yes, I know. That's why they remade it 20 years later. I'm just saying.
No, here's the difference, my friend. I love my sweet sister. I mean this in the spirit of true sisterhood.
Dang.
The difference is I know when something is shitty, but I still love it. Okay. And we're not the only ones. Like I was looking at the reviews of this, and it's like this movie has a 14 on Rotten Tomatoes.
And now I have to say something about this though. A movie, and this is something I was thinking of because I saw the Rotten Tomatoes score too.
Mm-hmm. But I noticed that your ass didn't mention it. I noticed that your ass didn't mention it in the technical summary. Your ass didn't say nothing about that 14.
I'm gonna say this. A movie that was made for children, okay, made for kids, made for children under the age of 10, being critiqued by grown-ass adults, to me, is not fair. It's not fair. Because that's not the intended audience. The intended audience is not 30, 40-year-old people. Do you know how long you have to, to get into Rotten Tomatoes? You have to have been, I think, 10 years into your critic game. So you already have to be old as shit. So you gotta be, not old as shit, but you, over 30.
I hear you.
This movie is made for under 10-year-olds. And you're critiquing it, and you're not the intended audience. Go ask some children how they felt about the movie, and you write that up there.
Kayla.
Because I'm pretty sure them kids would have been there like, oh my God, this is the best Halloween movie I've ever seen. If you would ask the children.
Kayla.
I'm just saying.
What you're saying is the biggest reach I have ever heard, because it by that logic, other movies that have been critically acclaimed that were children's movies, Moana was critically acclaimed.
And it would have been critically acclaimed by the children too.
Kanto was, Coco was, all of them had good, solid plots.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Didn't have that, baby. It's okay. And it's okay. What we're saying is,
but them movies are 20 years apart. 20 years apart. There have been so many things
Little Mermaid.
Okay, and those are animated movies. This is a real movie.
Kayla, baby.
Dr. Dolittle.
Like an Olympic gymnast over there with all them flips and that you're doing. Honey, it's okay to like crappy things.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just a crappy thing. It's okay. But we love you. We just don't love this movie because it's trash.
That's okay.
But back to the Rotten Tomatoes. It is a 14% on there.
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest critique was that it's not scary.
No.
And it's not funny. And it's like they could have teetered at least to one of those things, but it's neither. It's not scary and it's not funny. So this movie was based on a ride, or was the ride based on?
No, it was based on a ride.
Based on a ride. Mm-hmm.
And I rode the ride a couple of years ago, and the ride was better than this movie. Would much rather wait in a long ass line to get on this ride than to watch this movie ever again.
Hey, whoa!
That's shameful.
So Wikipedia says that this movie is considered a critical failure.
Damn, a critical failure.
Yes, but it did have decent box office success. Yes.
But they made their money back though.
I mean, it's Disney, of course. Like but it does have like cult status. Like it has a cult following.
It does.
And like I said, it is one of those movies that I know people rewatch, especially like for kids around Halloween, and that's cool. That's dope.
People rewatch for kids around Halloween. I personally think anyone and the kids of my generation probably have kept this movie going since then.
Wow.
I don't know that. Do people introduce their children to this movie? I have not. Terrell, have your kids ever seen this movie before? That's what I'm saying. I don't think it's them. I think it's us.
I think like people probably do.
He's watched. I didn't introduce it to him because I'd never seen it, but he swears up and down that I saw it. Well, remember we were watching it. Things I remember in my life, and this ain't one of them.
But I think that this movie is one of those that it's like a safe Halloween movie. Like you can let your kids watch it without worrying because it's Disney. So you know when it's Halloween, you pull out those movies that are safe. Especially if you have like kids still that age where so you know they can watch Nightmare Before Christmas by themselves, Hocus Pocus, Halloween Town,
which is crazy because all the movies a little sketch. I'm not gonna lie to you. Every last one of them. It's so funny that like Nightmare. All of those movies were my literal Halloween movies that I was literally afraid of. Coraline, scary shit.
Coraline was creepy, and I can't. I've added Coraline to the calendar because I wanted to talk about Coraline. Coraline is creepy as hell.
Yeah, the corpse ride.
Terrell, I'm so sorry, Terrell.
I felt just a scary child. You know what it was for me though? I think it was always that you didn't know it was gonna happen, and I think that's what I like about scary movies was because like, what's gonna happen? Even the kids' movies, I was like, oh, is she going to like lose her magic forever and like never be able to do anything ever again in life? Like that's how my mind used to work. And I'd be like, oh my God, like she's going to be stuck in Halloween Town forever and never get back home to her family. Yeah. So as a kid, I was like distraught.
God, well then you must have been a real dumb kid because it's a Disney movie. Everything works.
Damn, did I have to be dumb or did I just have to, have a very vivid imagination? Bitch.
I'm dumb because it's a Disney movie. Things always work out.
Okay, do 10-year-olds know that everything always works out for them? Do they?
But
do you know that at your big age that everything work out for you?
I knew it watching
Disney. You can walk out tomorrow and be like,
I used to be like, yeah, everything gonna work out. It's Disney. Don't nobody die.
People die all the time.
Not in no Disney movie.
Yes, they do. Twitches, their daddy died.
They died before the movie come on. Be like,
hey, came back life and died again. They be dying. The nigga in this movie died. He gets dragged straight to fucking hell. So
he was already dead though.
He was already dead.
And he died again for good.
Anyway, Kayla, you know what? All right, listen. Okay, Kayla. Okay, all right. So we're gonna end this because Kayla trying to do all these little reaches and flips and dips. So
if you can't take the heat, stay out the kitchen.
Okay, that's fine. I'm leaving the kitchen right now. Did we cover everything? Did we get to your last question?
I think my last question was, do you guys believe in ghosts?
Who are you asking?
Myself. I don't know. You. Terrell.
No call. You got to
StreamYard.
Call asking.
Whichever one of y'all start talking first.
All right. Well, do I believe in ghosts?
Yeah.
Yes, I do. And I make sure they stay far away from me. Yeah. So that's my answer. So if I were to ever see a ghost, either I'm going to sleep or I'm leaving. One of the two. No other options.
For real, you swore up and down that you seen ghosts when you was a child.
I did.
I believe you.
I did.
Y'all, let me tell you something. And y'all come crazy if you want to. And I don't care. And I really don't care. And I want whoever's listening to this right now, you can call me crazy if you want to. I really don't care. I used to think, and I'm telling you this, I know I had a big imagination. Two things. I would get in my shower and I would rub my soap and I would say the line from Dragon Tales, just knowing that soap was going to bring me to Dragonland, okay? I wish I was on my mic to fly with dragons in the land of whatever the fuck the last word is. That's number one. Number two, I used to swear up and down that by the time I turned 13, I was going to have my magical powers like Marnie in Halloween Town. And the reason I hadn't gotten them yet is because my grandmother did not let me know. And so I had to practice on my own. And I could have sworn when I was a child, I used to levitate. Like, that is how I knew I had a very vivid imagination. So I absolutely believe it goes.
That was a lot.
I'm trying to tell you, my imagination was big. I really had a human imagination.
Yeah, she had Muppet Baby type imagination.
Oh, Kayla, that was something. Well, okay, so do I believe in ghosts? You know what? I'm the type of person where I believe anything is possible. Like you won't hear me say that don't exist. I feel like it's a lot of shit we don't know, and I think anything is possible. Like, shoot, well, we had the government just now confirming that aliens exist.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we knew that.
I mean, I just my mind makes room for a lot of stuff. So if you tell me vampires exist, I ain't gonna be like, that don't exist. I'll be like, maybe. Werewolves, maybe. Bigfoot, maybe. Loch Ness monster, maybe. I don't know. So I've never had an encounter, and I hope that stays that way. Because I know if I see a ghost, I will become a ghost. Because I'm scary. So, but yeah, I think anything is possible. And not to get too deep off into the metaphysical, but I believe that, most beings are just lumps of energy, and maybe sometimes energy is left behind. So I don't know. So maybe.
Well, any final thoughts before we hop into Best Worst Weirdest Happy Hour?
I have no final thoughts.
No.
Wonderful. So, Terrell, kick us off with your Best Worst Weirdest and your happy hour. Just go ahead and say it same time.
Okay. Best part of this film was at the very end. I don't know if that was Nelly or what, the Saint Lunatics or something, but the whole vibe changed and this song just started playing. I was like, what song is this?
Yeah, it was a good
song. This had nothing to do with the movie whatsoever. They was like, put a rap track at the end of this. That'll get them going.
Yeah, that was very interesting. Did y'all stay for the end credit? Because y'all know it was the end credit.
Yeah, I accidentally left it running. And then when I came back, I was like, oh.
What did I miss?
Nothing.
She was saying basically, come back, bring your death certificate. It was almost like hinting towards there being a sequel, to be honest. But
okay.
But Disney had good sense and didn't. And the worst part of this film was that the story didn't. The story just was. It was a boring story. It wasn't a very engaging story. I'll say that. I just didn't care about these people living in this house. I didn't care that they wanted to be free. I didn't care that that guy thought that was his old girlfriend. I just I just didn't care. I was like, what's the point? Y'all gonna get to something interesting? So that was probably the worst. And the weirdest part of the film was the very beginning of the film, where it looks like an old TV show that's coming on and they give you the breakdown of what happened previously on the last episode. And I was like, what is going on? Who opens a movie up that way? I was like,
Halloween Town opens up like that too, if I'm not mistaken.
But Halloween Town wasn't in the theaters, was it?
Yeah, I think it did come out in theaters. I think.
Wow.
But I can't remember.
The other weird part. What was the other weird part? I was another one. I was like, what? Oh yeah, that little green haired lady. How did she get outside?
Oh, maybe it was.
To give him a pep talk. Like, this lady act like, don't move me from here, and all of a sudden she outside. Like,
didn't the ghost bring her? I thought the ghost brought her. The ghost didn't bring her outside?
She was just out there.
Oh, I don't know. It didn't actually. It didn't go so. Okay.
So yeah, that was weird.
Well, Kirsten.
Terrell, who you having a cocktail with?
Oh yeah, I'm having a cocktail with a cocktail was out. I don't guess one of them ghosts. Just pick one. It don't matter. Oh, one of them little singing statue thing. Yeah, I'm gonna have a cocktail with them. They was cool.
All right. So I'm next. Kayla?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So best worst weirdest for me. The best part of the movie was
Man, this is woo.
The best part of the movie.
I hate you.
I'm thinking. I am.
All right, next. I'll go. The best part of the movie for me was that.
The best part of the movie was some of the imagery was very fun. Oh, this I like those. But listen, man, you put some harmony in something, I love that. So okay, the singing bus was the best part of the movie for me. The worst part of the movie was, unfortunately, I really think that, I mean, it's a movie about a haunted mansion, obviously, hence the title. There could have been a lot of things done with that, but I feel like this was just not, it was just, they really relied on Eddie Murphy to really carry this movie to where the plot was just all over the place. They were like, you know what? We don't even have to write a strong plot. Eddie Murphy's great. He can just carry this whole thing on his back. It'll be great. It's wonderful. And it's just like it left a lot of answers like shit. Like you said, hell, you had questions. What time period were they in?
That was the one question I had.
Where was the cemetery come from? Well, who are these people? What is going on? And them just not like, and my okay, a lot of the thing is, okay, like you mentioned, they had a whole portal to hell open up. They had a woman being hung and they actually showed it, but you can't say that he couldn't marry this girl because she was black. That was what you compromised. So that,
but they did kind of say it. They did.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did.
They made it seem like she was of low breeding, and that's why.
And that's what they thought niggas was low breeding.
Not in that era. No, like it just was weird. But and so that was the worst. And then the weirdest was just. Well, I guess what I mentioned before, like the dynamic between the husband and wife, and just really just having all of these characters that really could have been great, but you just did not give them anything to work with. So yeah, and I guess I would have a cocktail with the wife, and so she can just tell me about herself, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Taylor.
Best for me was that, I really enjoyed the plot of the movie. Like, I understood what was going on. I don't know if it's just because I've seen it a million times, so I knew what the outcome was going to be. Because to me, it's a good story. Like, they brought these people to this house because he thought he was his old lover, and the butler lied to him about what actually happened, and he didn't know he was going to damn everyone to the house by doing that. And he was trying to undo it so that they could move on to the next realm. I thought it was a great plot. Worst for me is, I guess, the time period thing. It's actually not something I've ever really thought about, but thinking about it today, on the rewatch of like, yeah, you really don't know what time period that this house and this mansion, all of that stuff was from, but you could tell that it was today's time for, in the movie, the Fams. Weirdest to me was that they brought all of that stuff along with them to their family trip, because they were still going out to the lake at the end of the movie, and they brought a whole bunch of the stuff from the mansion along with them, and that's crazy to me.
That was
crazy. Like, no, I'm gonna sell this house though, but I'm gonna leave all this stuff. Cocktail. I'm gonna have a cocktail with the singing bust, but only because I want them to shut up, because they sung everything, and that would get annoying really, really quickly. Like, I want you to sing on cue, but not every cue. So maybe because they got drunk and stuff. Sometimes.
Well, all right.
Sometimes.
Yes. Yeah. All right.
And that beginning also reminded me of that old Drew Hill video. These are the times where they're the Three Musketeers. Anybody remember that video? It was so much like that. I was like, wow.
And that made no sense.
What we got? One gotta go.
One gots to go.
Yeah.
Ooh.
All right.
Huh?
No, you did it right. I think I forgot how to do it full screen, and it is what it is. You did a good job.
Thanks.
All right, so one gotta go. Who's going first? Kayla, who are you choosing first?
Terrell, go ahead.
Oh, this is easy. Haunted Mansion, definitely gotta go. Get it out of here. Bounce. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, get it out ASAP. No,
Which one?
Not even a thought. Automatic.
Which one did you say, Terrell?
Oh, the Haunted Mansion.
Oh,
Definitely the Haunted Mansion.
yeah.
Daddy Daycare, solid. Imagine that, solid. 1,000 words, not that great, but better than the Haunted Mansion.
Yeah. Am I next?
Yeah.
Oh, Kayla, you seem so sad.
Oh, baby, I held my movie down. I don't care what y'all say. Go ahead, Kirsten.
Okay. Well, okay. So the choice for me is Haunted Mansion as well. But I will say only because all of these other ones I've seen and they just were a more authentic Eddie Murphy performance. And I know I've seen Daddy Daycare and Imagine That. I don't remember hating those movies, but I remember 1,000 Words, and I always thought that was such. I can't remember how well that movie did, but I know for me personally, I thought that it was such an endearing performance from Eddie Murphy, like especially when he had to go silent and you really had to like just focus on just him. And from what I know about Eddie Murphy, from what I think most people know about Eddie Murphy, is that he's a comedian, obviously. So his words are everything. Like even not just for his character, but just for Eddie Murphy himself. Like as a comedian, his words are everything. But when he had to go silent in that film, and you really just had to focus on him and his facial cues and his emotions, I remember that in this film, and it was impressive to me.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm sorry, Haunted Mansion, but it's
mine would have to be 1,000 words.
And
1,000 words.
And I feel like you just chose that because of what I said.
No, I just have never seen it before. And I've seen the other ones. So.
You should watch it. I mean, it's not a I want to look up and see how 1,000 Words did, because I remember that movie made an impact on me.
I watched that Daycare a lot. I love that movie. Love it, love it, love it. Well, let us know, y'all, in the chat what y'all think. Which one gotta go for y'all? And if you say the Haunted Mansion, I just think you're a hater. So what are y'all binging? Anybody? I'm watching Jujutsu Kaisen. Personally, myself. Terrell.
When I was with Kirsten, we were watching what's that? With Craig Robinson. What's that? What's that show?
Oh, Killing It.
Yeah, Killing It. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I had a little bit of time to watch.
Okay.
I haven't really been watching TV like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, me either. I been working a lot. But yeah, so I'm not watching anything right now, but I do have some stuff obviously on my list. I keep a list. So I need to watch that. What's that curvy show?
I watched it.
How was it? What's the name of it?
Don't ask me too many questions. What is that name? Oh my god, I don't remember. What's the girl's name? Oh,
Survival of the Thickest.
Survival of the Thickest. Yes. It was okay. It was. I probably would want to watch it again to give it a full whatchamacall. Like there were some parts that was just like. But overall, I thought it was a really good binge watch or whatever. It was really cute. I enjoyed the different perspective on some of the things. It got real crazy at the end. I'm not gonna lie, because I was like, girl, you are stupid if you make this decision. But yeah, it was a good. I don't foresee it having like a second season or anything like that. It should stop right where it's at, because it felt like a 10-12 storyline. It does not need to go on beyond that.
Okay.
They're gonna mess it up if they do. So
well, yeah, I'm not binging anything. I don't.
okay.
I'm watching Supernatural, and that's my comfort show. So here we are.
We love to see a comfort show. Well, that's really it on our end, guys. Unless anyone has any other tea to spill.
Oh, Terrell, you can take us on out if you're ready.
All right, that'll work. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We had a great time discussing the Haunted Mansion, and
Wonderful.
we hope you enjoyed listening to our thoughts and insights.
Yes.
If you want to know more about Sips and Scripts, head over to our website, sipsandscripts.com, or follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Sips and Scripts Podcast.
Yeah.
We would love to hear from you, whether it's to suggest a film for us, or to share your thoughts on today's episode, or just say what it do. Drop us a DM on social media. Until next time, cheers.
Cheers. And I have a song for you.
Cheers.
Oh no.
Wow.